Hi, welcome to the One True Divine Feminine and Psychic Investigations Tarot. I have a message. It's a message for the world, but I think it's a particular message that somehow needs to reach a woman named Clara Maria Magdalene. I get a sense that she or her organization are trying to reach out to me, so I'm reaching out instead. I got a message from Mary, the High Priestess Intuition, and I believe that what you are, you're seeking me. And I'll say this: Merrick Gardlin and the FBI have my contact data if you want to talk to me. And I'm more than happy to talk to you. And in fact, I'm going to talk to you right now because I think this is really important. My story is an extremely unusual story, and yet it is true and horrifying, but also in many ways good because it has helped me to become a stronger person, more strong in my faith, more spiritual, more connected, more tapped in, more trusting, and grateful to God on every level and the FBI as well. So today we are really going to talk about some hard things. We're going to talk about warlocks and witch covens because a part of what I have been through was an attack by, from what I can determine, I think 3 witch covens and various warlocks. A lot of this, I believe, happened because of fallout from election cheating in 2016. A particular group of people were caught up with cheating. I got stuck in the middle of it because they needed to use somebody's home to stage their coup from. I uncovered the plot, and that made me an extremely unpopular person because they didn't get away with what they wanted to do. And now I could be wrong, but I believe that the 2 events are potentially linked. And so this set a number of witches onto my life to try to destroy me. And if you don't think that's terrifying, let me tell you, you're entirely wrong. But thank God I have huge faith in God, and I've had a lot of help, and so I am overcoming. Now, part of what happened to me was that they hired witch doctors literally from all around the world to try to take me down. They were paid. They have a deadline of January 5th where they're trying to destroy me. The idea was to literally suck the life force right out of me, right? In every possible way. They've tried to ruin my career. They sent a nasty picture to me to try to steal my house. They sent neighbors against me who didn't even know me by telling slanderous lies. And they did this partly out of retribution, I believe, because of the election hacking, and also because they wanted to be able to steal money from court cases that I won, because for some reason they thought that, blaspheming and stealing and cheating were all godlike. So, one of the rituals that they have been doing on me is trying to create a blood sacrifice. So, they literally have been, this group of people has been trying to kill me. They have tried to kidnap me. They tried to bury me alive in a box. They wanted to sex traffic me. They did make a sex tape with illegal cameras in my house. They've hired more hitmen than I can keep track of. And just the plots are endless. They poisoned my husband, and I'm starting to wonder if they haven't poisoned some sweetener in my house. I'm probably going to have that checked. So they have been trying to murder me, and they wanted, when they were done, to be able to write my name in a book and be proud of the murder that they had created. So this is what I've been up against. And yes, the entire thing was intended to end me completely, as well as my family. So my husband was impacted equally, right? One of the more horrible rituals that they elected to do to try to end me and stop me from getting the money that I had won in court cases was to create a bloodbath ritual with children. So they tried to put heinous things upon my soul. that don't belong on my soul. So this is bringing false witness against another person, which of course has nothing to do with God, and trying to put evil stuff onto my spirit that actually belongs to their spirit. And they have been getting together in their witchcraft covens to do this so that they can hang on to the money that they have been stealing. It is evil beyond compare. It's more than the money, it's the evil that they've been trying to put onto me so that they could get away with the theft. So that's what we're up against. And of course, some of what they did was so horrifying and cruel. You can see this is the cruelty card, the Nine of Swords. It nearly killed me, right? And that was the intent. They wanted to do enough evil things to me that I would commit suicide. Many of these people actually bought life insurance policies on me. I've told that some of them even declared I was dead so that they could collect on it because they figured they'd done enough evil, horrible shit to me that I would kill myself. And it nearly worked. So this is what it's like to go up against actual witches and warlocks. And they've been working on me from all over the world. Part of what they did was a mirror spell because they wanted to do a destiny swap with me because they knew I was going to win some court cases and they wanted to take the money. In fact, they took all of the money and then they went about trying to bury me alive, literally in a box. And that was done all with witchcraft spells. Mirror, mirror. I'm going to become you. You're going to become me. And then we're going to kill you and get away with the whole thing. That's exactly what this was about. Now, because of the original betrayal with the election hack, yes, I was very upset. I was acting out in my house. I was angry. I had been betrayed by my own people. That's an extremely upsetting thing for a person, right? To realize that this has happened, that people that should be loving, kind, and godlike had actually betrayed me. And the other thing that really upset me was that they then put voyeur cameras all over my house, including in my shower, so they could watch our sex acts and me on the toilet and taking a shower because somehow that was also godlike and was going to help them. And they sold images of that, so they sex trafficked me as well. So the filth that I've been put through for the Antichrist has been amazing. Now, yes, it is true. I am a New Age believer. I believe in the same God you do. I believe in Jesus. I go about it very differently. And in this country, we're allowed to do that. And I like to exercise my rights to do that. It works for me. And I find all the light and love and decency and beauty of God in my home. And I don't need the box, right? I am what some people call a light worker. So I healed myself from this horrible thing by drawing on angelic light. I brought down a wall of angelic light and I surrounded myself with it. And that is when I began to heal and to deflect all of the witchcraft spells that these covens were throwing at me. And you can see I was tapping into this ancient wisdom of the chakra system. And I literally just built a wall of God light all around me. And that has been helping me to heal, overcome, survive, and have faith, right? God saved me twice in my life. This is the second time. And the first time I used my faith was to heal myself was through cancer. And again, I did similar techniques and I used the angelic light of God to do it. And I brought down my heart wisdom. I brought down prayers. I brought down chanting, meditation, and yoga. And I used that to protect myself. And now I have the FBI helping to protect me too. Because the things that these people try to cast upon my spirit to steal money from court cases or to protect the money that they had already stolen was heinous beyond belief. It's enough to make any normal believer sick to their stomach. And yet I have enormous faith in God, and my belief system has saved me twice. And I do believe that this will all be righted in time, right? This was all done because they were angry they got caught cheating to begin with. So I do connect to God. I try to connect on higher planes, right? I do it through meditation and yoga. And I sing. Music helps me quite a bit. I believe in the same deity that you do. I just go about it differently, right? So, same God, right? I grew up in the same belief system as you did, but I've taken a new path, which I really like. Why? Because it empowers women. It allows women to have a voice, to have strength, to have power, and develop their own path to God. And I really like that. So, yes, I connect differently, but my path works for me, right? And again, it saved my life twice. So I try to tap into the energies of the universe with hypnotherapy and all of these different modalities, right? And that allows me to reach my hands up in prayer to God and to find my way through what most people would have killed themselves over. And again, it's been bearing false witness against an innocent person because they got caught cheating and they stole money and they want to hang on to the money. So this is why this is all being done. Prayer, meditation, healing, music. Yes, I do yoga because it helps to bind your soul to God. In fact, that's what yoga means. I am an energy healer. I did save myself from a bout of cancer 19 years ago. I go into a prayer-like state. I connect with God. When I do that, most especially in hypnotherapy, I can feel the wheels of light in the palms of my hands and in each and every one of my fingers. And I try to draw on God energy to do Reiki, which helps people to heal from horrible things. Now, the witches knew that these court cases were happening because they were in my house listening, right? So I was set up from the very beginning. This was a premeditated attack. I had written a book, and the book outed who had done it. And I guarantee you, if you look hard enough, you will find that the people who are doing this are connected to that group because it was all premeditated and it began with a nasty picture. And there was a picture I didn't want to have or see. I clicked a link that was sent and it was open for 2 seconds. And that was intended to end my life with one tower after the other, after the other, after the other. And they have tried to ruin my career. Somebody destroyed my vehicle or one of my vehicles. It's in the shop. They've slandered me on the job to the point that they've tried to ruin my professional career. They wanted to keep me sick, stuck at home where they could feed off of me like vampire witches. This is actually what's happened to me. They cast so many spells upon my life, in addition to the bloodbath ritual with children, which they did in many states all over to hang on to the money that was stolen, right? Or to just steal off of court case money, because somehow stealing and lying and cheating and blaspheming has become godlike to this particular group of people. I don't understand that. Maybe, somebody could help me with that, but I don't understand. But meanwhile, here's what they did to me. For years, they cast death spells on me, sick spells, suicide spells, murder spells. And they actually hired hitmen and they bought life insurance policies against me. And one of the hitmen they had was a sadistic rapist kind of guy. They've threatened me with gang rape. And again, I believe we are looking at the Antichrist because no truly godlike person could ever do this sort of thing to a human being. I called out for God's help and God showed up. And he has done this twice in my life when I really needed him. So I know miracles happen every day. I know that. Miracles are happening right now. I have faith this is all going to work out. I really do. And an angelic wall of light has been protecting me, both the light that I draw on from calling angels down, but also spirit guides and various people who have been helping to shield me from the filth that I have been put through. Trying to bring peace and tranquility and a sense of healing into my life for what has happened, right? Because I do have a connection to God. It may be different than how some of you connect, but I have a very strong connection to God. And none of this was godlike. It was filthy beyond compare. And I drew on this light so that I could heal myself and deflect the evil spells that were being cast upon me. And the spells were numerous and went on for years and are still ongoing. It's, I can tell you this, it's terrifying. And one of the spells that they said was that I was a witch, right? And that I cast spells. And I know nothing about witchcraft whatsoever. I only ever use my skills for good in the world. I know exactly what deity I am connected to, and I can tell you it has nothing to do with demonic forces. So I connect with the light and love of God. I always have. And yes, I am an astrologer and I do yoga. And a lot of people don't understand that, but every astrologer I know has decent belief system, right? Most of them are Christians. Some also tap into the wisdom of other cultures, and I do that too, right? I'll take wisdom anywhere I can get it. So, how have I used astrology? I use it for good in the world. And one of the things that I used it for was to crime solve. And in fact, the charts that I did put us in the homes of pedophiles, sex traffickers, and people who were throwing wild and crazy orgy parties and then secretly filming the participants so that they could then bribe them. This is the kind of group that's all entangled with this. So please be aware, this is who you're dealing with. And what they look like on the front, what they say on the front has nothing to do with what's happening in their hearts, their minds, and their spirits. So my using astrology is helping us to break up pedophile rings, sex trafficking rings, and witch covens. I'm not a fan of witches. I only work for the light. And I hope for all of the kids who have been harmed in this, and it makes me sick, that there is some kind of new beginning and new hope and new life, and that places where children are being abused and treated poorly, that some new breath of life comes into their life. And I hear there's a young girl who passed, and it makes me sick. I think there's a lot of abuse happening in these places. And my local county, some of them were involved. And they got in on the lie because they were given suitcases of money. And they were told that they would prosper greatly if only they could help bury a good woman. This is a place where life is supposed to be elevated and a godlike community. Yes, I do read widely on other belief systems because I find a lot of wisdom, especially for healing, from those systems. Hence the chakra system. And I've used that to heal not only myself, but others. But I only believe in one God, and it's the same God you believe in. I do believe in angels. And I think angels help to hold up the world, right? And I do believe in the beauty of our Creator. And I do believe that there is a great power and wisdom and strength in women, and we shouldn't negate this, right? And I do believe my faith is telling me that this is all going to work out in time. And I do see when it's going to work out, and I see how it's going to work out. Why? Because I am a seer. Because I think God is trying to send a message of certain things that no longer work, right? That bearing false witness against people and doing horrible things with children are not godlike, especially when it's to harm another human being, steal money, lie, and slander. I don't think a loving, kind God would support that. Do you? I healed myself with my faith of an uncurable cancer 19 years ago. I should have been dead, absolutely dead. There's no reason I'm alive except for the fact that God is not done with me yet. This is a fact. If I told you my full story, you would be shocked. But I'm a strong woman and I have strong faith. And yes, I go about it very differently than you do. And I have coached many other cancer patients on how to survive, some of whom have actually made it. And I take a very multi pronged, new age approach. And several of them are alive and well. Um, when you work together with people with a good heart and draw on the right energy source and you have faith, anything is possible. I know a lot of people misunderstand astrology, so I just want to explain how it's meant to be used and how I have used it in my life. I use it as a good spiritual tool. I use it to help coach people on their lives, how to overcome their conundrums, their difficult aspects, how to encourage them on right career paths, how to find their purpose in their chart, which is evident. All of these beautiful things, this spiritual DNA, is all evident in your chart. I can also use it to help time things so that you can latch onto the energy well to get results that you want. And I helped one woman who was single mom with children finish college at a particular time when things were perfect. You can also use timing to avoid problems and to steer things in a positive direction. It's like reading the energy of the universe and saying there's all these potentialities. How do we latch on to the best potentiality for the highest good? I use it to solve crimes and to understand the behaviors and motivations of people and to consciously harness the energy wisely. Now, right now, I see people working on this part, and I really love it because we are in the Pluto return of our country, Pluto in Capricorn. And because of that, we're also using this to expose the corruption, the greed, the illnesses of society so that we can clean these things up, so that our country has decency once again. Oh, yes, I also used astrology to try to help a woman avoid a miscarriage I saw coming. I worked through her mother. I didn't want to scare her. And I did it in a way so that she wouldn't know that I saw this. But I just tried to say, make sure she gets lots of rest, she takes it easy, this, that, and the other. In this case, I was not successful. She did have the miscarriage, but I tried to intervene. Some things are fated, some things you can affect with human intervention. I tried to help her save her child, but it was written otherwise. God had other plans. I also use astrology to help warn of national threats and to try to create good things in the world, right? So if you could see the energy and you wanted positive outcomes and you could warn people and say, latch onto the energy in a good way, wouldn't you do it? I also receive messages from God in dreams, and I have received valuable information in this manner over time. It helps me to process things. I get a lot of information from God in symbology. So much so, I actually keep a dream journal. I draw a picture of the dream, I title it, I work on the interpretation, and then I write down what the message was. This one was about power animals like lions, coyotes, wolves that were streaming out of the mountainside down into a valley. I encountered a large black bear in this particular dream, and I faced him without fear, with a feeling of kinship. And yes, I have had dreams decades before the actual event happened. I can't explain why this happens for me. It just does. It doesn't happen all the time, but this is how God works through me. So I like to pay attention to images, synchronicities, because they're important to me, because they help to feed my intuition. And intuition also helped to solve this case. So I know some people think, oh, tarot cards are evil. Well, for me, images are important because God speaks in images. So I do like tarot, dreams, and astrology because I get information from symbols and dreams. And I'm able, for some reason, to be able to tap into that godlike energy and those symbols and dreams to come into contact with cosmic forces. It's like prayer, it's just different, right? And in my perspective, our life path is written in the stars. God basically puts planets and things in place, and if you can read the path, you can understand what's going on. And that was how I was able to solve my own crime, because I was able to tap into the imagery and the symbols and read the energy. And this is what placed us in the homes of evil people who love voyeur cameras and who have not done this once but multiple times to literally suck people dry of their resources while trying to destroy them as human beings. But connecting to higher light, higher power has been shielding me from this stuff. And I have faith that in the end, no weapons formed against me shall prosper, because I do believe that the light and love and decency will be seen, even though I connect differently. God gives us all free will to choose wisely. So though energies are out in the chart, there's always different ways they can manifest. And so much of it has to do with the path that you choose. I'm choosing to heal. I'm choosing to speak my truth. I'm choosing to have faith. And I am choosing to believe that these tactics will not pass, that people will realize that trying to set up a human being with filth so that they can win money off of court cases and destroy a human being is not godlike. Bearing false witness against another person is not godlike. Now, with astrology, you just see the potential outcomes. And then you put a prayer out into the world and to the people that you're trying to help to say, here's what's possible. Latch onto the best manifestation of this as you can. Okay. Also, I like to explain hypnotherapy because people don't understand that either. But it is an absolutely wonderful healing tool to help heal soul level issues at a very deep subconscious level. And just to help you steer your life into a better path, right? And yes, you have to go deep down to tap into that. Let me see if I can find another dream here. I like, again, it's the symbology of some of it that I just think is very funny. I'll let you look. Okay, you can see there's a big sand dune there. Climbing the Sand Dune is the title of this dream. This was in 2013. I was working at a particular park. And the dream was I met a large family that wanted to climb a sand dune. In preparing to take the family up the dune, we first traveled down a long set of stairs to get where we needed to be. This is descending down into the subconscious. This is how you do this in hypnotherapy. I laid out all of the ground rules for safety, including drinking water and working groups and watching out for each other. The group was huge, and they had a dark cast to them as if they had been tarred. Usually, when you see dark images in your dream like that, it has to do with shadow aspects of yourself, right? So, I'm going deep down into my subconscious in this dream to deal with shadow aspects of myself. When we got to the dune, I told them I couldn't go up because I needed to get back to work. It was like I didn't want to face the shadow stuff, right? And I wasn't sure I'd make it because I wasn't in shape. Then, you're going to love this part. I thought of a giraffe and realized that he was successful because he could take the higher perspective. So, though I didn't climb the dune, it was okay. I could still see things from above. Have a look at the picture again. Right? So it's like a fear of dealing with the shadow aspects, trying to take things slowly because maybe I wasn't ready to deal with all of it, and then having a higher perspective. This is how the dream symbology works. And when you use it well in your life, it enables you to tap into what I would call the secret garden, a place inside of yourself where there's peace and light and love and God energy and the potential for healing. For me, it's like prayer times 100. And yes, I have left my body twice under hypnosis. We call that astral projection. It's not an easy thing to do, but we are all souls on a journey. And when I did leave my body under hypnosis, I felt free. It was beautiful, beautiful experience. And it's proof of that soul that travels from this world to the next. And it was just a lovely, lovely feeling. In one of those experiences, when I left my body, I traveled to a very light filled place. You gotta love the symbols, right? Filled with light and clouds and beautiful energy. And there was a white louvered door there. And I was so intrigued by the light streaming through the crack in the door. It was partially open. My soul wanted to go immediately right up and peer behind to see what that beautiful white light was. And I went right up as a soul to look. And at that point, God decided, sent a little wind, snapped the door shut, and the message was, not yet. And yet, it was wonderful. So you can see I tap in differently than some people. But my New Age path to God works great. And even though I have a New Age path and you may have a more traditional path, I think that there are going to be those of you who realize that blaspheming a good human being, trying to ruin their spirit with filth, till you can steal money or protect money that you've stolen because you're angry that you got caught for cheating. That's not godlike, right? We need change. That's not godlike. So somehow leadership in churches have to begin to work so that we can recognize that this kind of energy doesn't bring down God to earth. It brings down chaos, division, harm, fear, terror. In my case, years of terror from what was done to me, right? I can tell you that I'm very grateful for my high priestess intuition and methods of healing because it has helped to keep this evil off my doorstep. And yes, some of these witches were from churches. So I think we have a problem. I think we need to deal with the problem together and find a better path forward. Now, that being said, I've been doing a series. I call it the Christmas series. And I hope you read about Jesus's path was visible in the stars, because it most certainly was. All of the symbology is there. You tend to think, oh, God is one thing, astrology is another. And I'm here to tell you that it's very much a path to God if you understand how to read it. So we're going to continue with the Neptune series because Neptune is all about how we connect to the God energy, Neptune and Pisces, when it's high vibing. We're going to get into the low vibing because it's exactly the opposite, right? But for high vibing. And today we're going to talk about what happens when that energy is in the 10th house of the astrology chart. Now, the 10th house is often known as the career house, your outward standing in the world, your reputation, how the public views you, and major changes to your outward status. So, if you go through a big event in your life and something really changes, like you were married and now you're divorced, that will show up in the 10th house, for example. So, if you have Neptune in your 10th house and you're high vibing, you could have a career, uh, you know, in like a pastor, right? Because it's a connection to God. It could be a yoga teacher because, believe it or not, yoga teachers are there to help you connect your spirit to God's spirit. Maybe a meditation teacher or even a dream interpreter, again, because there are people like me who connect to God through dream work. It could also be a person who plays an organ at church. These are the kinds of things, symbols to look for. Or maybe a Sunday school teacher. That's another possibility. There will be, with this planetary connection here in the 10th house with Neptune, a desire to connect with others on a soul level at work because it's the career house. And there will be a sense of wanting to dissolve yourself in the service of humanity. Now, people can also be involved in creative industries, especially when you have this Neptunian energy or Piscean energy about. So you can find people who are artists, dancers, filmmakers, or poets. Um, an action figure who really embodies this well is Aquaman. He's the perfect example of Neptune in the 10th house. He's an actor who taps into his godlike powers to rule over the seas. Now, finding steady work in this house can be a challenge, but whatever you do, you will want to emotionally connect with others through that work. So, because there's always an emotional connection with Pisces, you might find counselors with this kind of placement, those who want to tap into the collective consciousness, such as hypnotists and ecstatic dancers are indicated. And yes, I have done dance church, and yes, it is wonderful. It is one of the most healing, wonderful ways to reach God, right? Through the energy of dance and dancing out your emotions and connecting to that higher vibration of our Creator. Now, there's also a very strong water theme with both Neptune and Pisces. Both roll over the oceans. And in fact, the symbol for Neptune is the trident. And Neptune was once viewed as a Greek god who watched over the seas. And because of this very watery connection, other career paths that could be indicated are scuba divers, boat captains, oceanographers, marine biologists, people who work with dolphins, that sort of thing. All right, so you're kind of getting the language of it. Both Neptune and Pisces can also, on a downward end, relate to drugs, fogginess, illusions, and delusions. But in terms of career paths, high vibing career paths, that could bring forth pharmacists, counselors that help people overcome various addictions and delusions, drug rehab workers, and even those who run homeless shelters, for there will be a sense of wanting to give to the downtrodden that appeals with this placement. So I hope that helps you to understand some of the symbology. And again, we're going to continue with the high vibing stuff, and then eventually we're going to take a look when people tend to operate on the opposite ends. Just so if you have a strong Pisces thing, doesn't mean you're going to really be tapped into God. It could mean you're tapped into drugs and delusions and, you know, negative stuff. It just depends on how you execute your free will. But I hope this helps you to understand what I've been through with the witches and the warlocks who have been casting spells upon me um, on every new moon, full moon, everything. And some of the spells have been absolutely uh, heart staggering. And in fact, they've been trying to blow out my heart chakra. They've been trying to destabilize my root chakra so I can't work. They've been extremely active at that, trying to destroy my career path. And of course, they used a nasty picture also to steal money and hang on to money that they already had. Um, and all of this is being hidden behind, I would call it the Antichrist, right? These are demonic forces at work in our country today. They're extremely dangerous and scary. And I attribute my life and blessings and gratitude and safety right now to the fact that I called out to God for help and He showed up. And yes, I did this with chanting and yoga and light work and building an angelic wall of light around my being. And that is what saved me. So I believe that the truth will come forth. I believe that my spirit will come forth. If you put a gun to my head and asked me to hurt a child, you would have to shoot. So the stuff that they've done to steal and slander and lie, these tactics must stop. They are not humane. They're not decent. And they're most certainly not godlike. All right, that being said, God bless each and every one of you. May you have a wonderful Christmas. May we find the one true, beautiful, shining deity that we live under in this country and bring that loving God down to earth. However we do it. All right, take care. Many blessings.